responsibility.
Finishing this fight.
Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to the Lore Council. This is, of course, Cade, and I am joined with, for the first time in a month, Tristan.
I'm actually here! It's great!
He is here.
Good to be back!
I dug him out of his hole in the ice, unthawed him, gave him his code words, and he's up and ready to go.
I can only come out on a full moon. Even though it's 3 when we're recording this.
Yeah, it's 3 in the afternoon, and I don't even know if it's a full moon.
I don't know.
Where a cursory Google
lore...
search says no.
The lore's a little fickle. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh no. It's in 4 days. The nearest full moon is so.
Excellent. I'm a little early, but
so he's a little early.
We're talking about KOTOR 2. It was worth it.
Yeah. Yep. I had a KOTOR 2 video in mind, specifically, obviously, the title, which is "Does Revan Need Knights of the Old Republic 2?" Short answer.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
All the way.
Yeah. So for some quick background, if you don't know who Revan is, watch my video that I did talking about Revan, because all the other ones are garbage.
Correct.
So yeah, that'll be in the description, so you can check that out, and you can get a non-awful, non-fan fiction take on Revan, and why his character is important and good.
Or just a recycling from Wikipedia.
Oh yeah, and yeah, without me reading off 5 paragraphs from Wikipedia telling you that he's a gray Jedi who used both sides of the Force.
He has a red and purple lightsaber.
Yeah, those are not the important things about Revan. Although in a vision, obviously, he used a purple and red lightsaber, but that was a vision.
It is a sick color combination, though.
It does look cool, and I will say that the fact that that is so attributed to him is just really dumb, because in every single, anything he's been in, he has a single lightsaber. And, more often than not, it's blue.
He has a red lightsaber in the cutscene with Bastila, blue in, little story excerpts.
Yeah,
and, in the Old Republic, and in the novel, he has a short green lightsaber.
He doesn't have a short green lightsaber. He just has a green lightsaber, which is the best
short comparison to the Chad Revan.
Which is the best color, but that's not important.
No.
What is important is Revan's character, and we're here to like I had said earlier, to talk about how Knights of the Old Republic 2 is necessary for Revan to be a character. Because, first bullet point we have is in KOTOR 1, the game he is introduced in, obviously. All you get is him, is being the player character, and all his actions are yours. So he doesn't really have any established character in the game besides some stuff we'll get to later.
Basically Revan in the first game is whatever you want him to be, aside from a cool character design and a really good twist.
Well, he's not even a good character design, except in the couple cutscenes, because you have to wear KOTOR 1 robes for the game.
Indeed.
Which is not cool.
No. Darth Revan is cool. Revan is just a dude. Or a chick.
He's either mullet man or braid girl.
Yes.
Nothing else. But yeah, so, you can't argue that he has good character in KOTOR 1, because obviously his development and the way his character handles all the twists and turns. Granted, there are only 2 options of either light side or dark side, but none of those are dictated by Revan himself. They're all dictated by you, the player. And then obviously there is a canon, obviously to Legends, not canon to canon, playthrough that you can do of Knights of the Old Republic, which is choose only light side choices the entire game.
Basically, if Revan is your favorite character, having just played the first game. It's like having the Dragonborn be your favorite Elder Scrolls character.
Yeah, basically, it's like any time that like it's like, oh, who's your favorite Fallout character? Oh, the Lone Wanderer. Okay, but why? Well, because I did this cool thing, which is basically in Knights of the Old Republic is, why is Revan your favorite character? Well, I did this cool thing and blew up the Starforge.
I am my favorite character.
Exactly. Like, no, I would not want to be a Star Wars character. I would be dreadfully boring.
I would too. Honestly.
Yeah, it's but you know, like you cannot leave KOTOR 1 saying Revan's your favorite character. Like I thought that like you had said earlier, like the design for Darth Revan, like with the red and black robes, yeah, like iconic design, like with the Mandalorian mask, and to kind of even go off of Knights of the Old Republic 1, the comics leading up to it, the Knights of the Old Republic comics, the couple issues that Revan are in, you don't even get any real character development other than he wants to stop the Mandalorians. Like that's his motivation. That's all
he gets a cool mask.
And he gets a cool mask.
Right.
Which is, yeah, that's the most important part, is that he gets the cool mask.
Indeed. Well, up until this point, this is only character.
Exactly. But then, I guess kind of on the flip side, second bullet point here, all you get from Knights of the Old Republic 1, like character and development-wise, is 1, that he's strong in the Force, and 2, he's a good tactician. Like, that's...
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
And you get it from other characters and from the Starforge star map on Kashyyyk, and that's about it.
Yeah, and really, even then, like, obviously all the stuff that you get from, Revan Force stuff comes from, like, the Jedi. And then, like literally, as far as I remember, like, everything tactics-wise comes from Canderous, and really all you get is that he was willing to, like, leave certain systems undefended so he could, like, strengthen other systems.
Yeah, you see that he has a much more tactical mind, and he's obviously better at war than Malik is. And he's more efficient.
Yeah, I was going to say more efficient. It's not that he's better at war, it's just he has a more efficient approach, versus Malik is capital ship, capital ship, capital ship, troops, droids, die.
Malik's basically a monster, whereas Revan was... He would, like, systematically take things down and, like, preserve it, which is, like, the first hint you get about his motivation that's established later in 2.
Well, it's not really a
that's
hint.
all it really is.
Because he's, in the Canderous quote, it's just talking about, like, military forces. And the only quote I could get, you could say, because obviously, like, there's no way that Drew Karpyshyn writing KOTOR 1 was leading up to anything for what Chris Avellone was going to do in KOTOR 2. But you do get from Canderous that Revan was willing to make sacrifices in order to advance his goals.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Like, literally from Canderous, well, since Canderous is a Mandalorian, of course, all he's going to talk about is, well, Revan's tactics.
Revan beat us. He's so good.
Revan beat us with his tactics.
Yes.
But yeah, you just get a lot about how, like, the Mandalorians, even, like, the greatest warriors in the galaxies, were like, whoa, this guy's the GOAT.
And essentially, which is the great thing about Mandalorians, is that all they're gonna do is... Well, real Mandalorians are just gonna gush over the guy who kicked their ass.
Yeah, so, I mean, with that, that's literally just those two little blips of information is literally all you get from Revan as a character in KOTOR 1.
It really doesn't distinguish him from a lot of characters in Star Wars.
It's literally just like, he's basically just like, in KOTOR 1, he's basically in the vein of, like, just Anakin Skywalker. Like, good commander, strong in the Force, kind of a dick, fell to the dark side.
That's it.
Well,
Same through line.
Yeah, basically. I mean, obviously, I think Anakin did some worse stuff, but but no, yeah, basically just like kind of just like a generic like hero character.
Essentially, he has the same through plan as Anakin does, and they don't take it anywhere else until KOTOR 2.
Well, that's perfect you mentioned that, because KOTOR 2 does 100% set up the biggest parts of Revan personality-wise.
Without him actually being in the game.
Yeah, he's in, literally like I'd mentioned earlier, he is in a vision. That is it. Well, and then I think there's a cut content thing where he force chokes Canderous.
Yeah, he's... Like, if you talk to T3 and get enough influence with him, he'll show you Revan just strangling the shit out of Canderous.
Which
and
Canderous probably loved.
Honestly. But that and the vision's it.
Yeah.
He's the only other time he is just mentioned.
Yeah, he's mentioned, he's a vision, he's a hologram. A hologram. He's not physically in the game.
No. But I think just about every companion in KOTOR 2 gives you at least a sliver of information about Revan. Like, obviously, Canderous and HK carry over from the first game.
Yeah, so those two, yeah, and then, well, obviously, like, this was a later one, but yeah, like, basically, I would say, like, probably, like, 70% of all of Revan's character comes from Kreia.
It does. Kreia is essentially the mouthpiece for almost everything we know about Revan.
Yeah, like all the yeah, and then yeah, so like all the like Revan quotes that you see like Star Wars YouTubers being like, "Oh, Revan was power," blah blah blah, all that stuff. That all comes from Kreia.
Yeah, almost every single one of his accolades is attributed to Kreia.
Yep.
And Canderous.
Yeah, Kreia, Canderous, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, then otherwise, Canderous, he gives some good stuff into it. I would say HK also gives really good insight, especially about his stuff on like killing and turning Jedi and stuff. I think is also obviously really important. And then even Atton, once you go down his influence path, he gives you really big insight into like Revan's machinations, like what he was doing behind the scenes in the Jedi Civil War.
Yeah, he was essentially, it was a war, to quote Kreia, it was a war of conversion, where he was slowly turning everybody to the dark side. And the war itself was turning everybody to the dark side.
Yep, and he, and then I think they mentioned that the war was going to come down to just whoever had the most Jedi on their side.
Yeah, and essentially you see that the Mandalorian Wars was essentially a proxy war, or it ended up being a proxy war to create Revan's Sith Empire.
Yeah.
Because it would create these worlds like Malachor, for instance, where the dark side was so strong that it would be really easy to break a Jedi's will. Which is essentially establishing Revan's motivation, if you want to get into that.
Well, I think we should go along with some more of the personality stuff, because even as boring as he is, even Disciple has like some decent like stuff to say about Revan.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that and even I don't know. I don't hate Disciple as much as everyone else. I think he has, and we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but Disciple has some really good lines. It's just his voice actor was on like downers that day.
I agree.
But no, because the quote, I have a couple of them in front of me. He says, "There was a pattern of Revan's attacks during the Jedi Civil War. He sought to convert Jedi, not kill them. But that is not all. In fact, he fought to keep the infrastructure intact, killed certain political leaders that would lead to destabilization." Like, again, it shows that Revan, and it kind of goes off of what Canderous had stated in the previous game, where Revan wasn't like this blind butcher who was just like kill, 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 kill. Mm-hmm. And in fact, like, yeah, like that even, it kind of like springs off of what, you know, Kreia says and what Atton says, that like the Jedi Civil War was not about like controlling the Republic. It was about being in charge of like Force users. And I think that's really important. Again, obviously, as we'll get into like his actual motivations. But yeah, his whole thing with the Jedi and like making sure they're like on his side, broken to his will and stuff. And then
it's more of what you said, that he's not a butcher, and it mostly expounds on what we learned about him in 1.
Yeah, and they do. It's just a really good job of it. And off the top of my head, the only companions I can think that don't say anything about Revan, because I don't think Visas does.
I don't think she does either.
I don't think Mira does.
No. Handmaiden is indirectly tied because her dad is Usanus.
Yeah, it's more of like kind of extrapolations, I guess, of what she thought was going on, because you can have the one conversation with her about Revan and Malik's final battle on the Starforge.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that as well, but that's just kind of like I said, it's more extrapolation. So Handmaiden doesn't. So I would say like at least half of the companions in KOTOR 2, if not maybe a bit more, would have stuff to say about Revan, because obviously Goto does. Because I think even he talks about how Revan wasn't like, just out to destroy everything.
Well, it just makes complete sense, because Goto is all about, I don't care if the Sith or the Jedi win, just as long as the galaxy is stable. And that's essentially what Revan would have done.
Well, maybe.
Well, as far as Sith go.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing that we should preface, is that, like, Revan isn't, like, a good guy.
No, by no means.
Like, and that's obviously that's kind of the point of, like, KOTOR 2 is, like, did the ends justify the means? Like, if Revan would have, like, implemented this, like, totalitarian Sith dictatorship, would that have been a good thing? Probably not.
He's essentially doing what Thrawn was trying to do, and retake the galaxy and make everything stable again.
But with Force lightning.
Yes, but with Force lightning. It's more like asserting control, but
yeah,
having everything be stable.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't like going to like the D&D well, because I think they're kind of overdone. But I think Darth Revan and Revan that like Kreia and everyone talks about in KOTOR 2, I would definitely say would be like a lawful evil character.
Yeah.
To put that in, and I guess since we've talked about like his personality stuff and getting in like a good deep dive into that, but the thing more importantly set up by KOTOR 2 is Revan's motivations as to why all this stuff happens.
So he starts out, all in the first game is that he wanted to take the fight to the Mandalorians because the Jedi weren't doing anything and the Republic was very clearly losing the war.
Oh yeah.
And you get details about how, like we talked about earlier with Kreia saying that he was establishing points in the Force where it'd be easy to convert people and slowly falling towards the dark side. But I think now would be a good time to mention the whole sacrifice quote.
Oh yeah, that is, I think, the biggest like a biggest thing to talk about when you're talking about Revan.
Where Kreia says that there's a difference between a sacrifice and a fall, which kind of distinguishes him from just being purely evil. As far as archetypes go, he's definitely lawful evil. Like, he's doing some really fucked up shit to get his ends, but at the same time, like, his reasons were justified, because we find out in KOTOR 2 that we find out in the first game that something changed when he went out to the unknown regions, but you find out in 2 that he met the true Sith Empire, and it was like, oh shit, we gotta prep the galaxy so we can actually handle this, because the true Sith Empire's scary as hell. And this is before Vitiate or whatever's established in the MMO. Like,
nope.
The way Kreia talks about that.
Nope.
This is before
Vitiate's not real. That doesn't exist. Stop it.
This is before nothing else happened after KOTOR 2, and the storyline was completely dropped. where Kreia mentions how scary the Sith Empire is and how much of a threat it is, and how, by comparison, Revan's Sith Empire was like. I love the way she says the line, because she says, like, you thought the machines and people walking around were the Sith?
Dumbass.
Because, like, the ancient Sith Empire is built up as, like, this eldritch abomination that's just absurdly powerful. Like, you have Nihilus going around the place, and she's like, oh, yeah, he's getting on the tier of the ancient Sith Lords, which is pretty scary. So you have Revan, who's going out back into the galaxy after it's essentially been crippled by the Mandalorians, and then screwing it up even more, but preserving what he can, so that by the time he wins it, he can actually have the means to defend the galaxy against an even greater evil.
Yeah, it's, Yeah, well, because the exact quote from Kreia is, the difference between a fall and a sacrifice is sometimes difficult, but I feel that Revan understood that difference more than anybody knew. The galaxy would have fallen if Revan had not gone to war. Perhaps he became the Dark Lord out of necessity to prevent a greater evil.
Yeah, because he's showing the galaxy how Sith operate and fight. Because at this point, the galaxy hasn't been exposed to the ancient Sith for, what, 1,000 years? How early was Exar Kun? It's been a good bit.
Well, Exar Kun was like decades before.
But even then, like, Exar Kun just had like the backing of a few other fallen Jedi like Uliko Droma and Visasi, but like
it was decades before, because Exar Kun was 3996 and KOTOR is 3950 something.
So it's not a huge gap, but
yeah, but that's not even like the actual like ancient Sith.
No, that's just him getting his new tricked out lightsaber.
Yeah, because it's about like 1,000 years, because the Great Hyperspace War was 5,000 BBY.
Yeah, so it's been a long time since they've showed up.
Yeah, and even then, and obviously, like, as we can see, like, obviously with Revan, like, coming in and doing his stuff, like, the Sith would have also been, like, just, like, they would have evolved, like, at that point. Like, it's not, like, the Sith aren't big on, like, the whole stagnation thing. No.
I mean, you're a state that's a constant conflict, so you're going to change and ebb and flow over time. So you have Revan who, like, adopts their tactics and starts going out to the war, going out into the galaxy with it, so that it could be prepared to face a threat like this, because the Mandalorians alone were enough to steamroll the galaxy until the Jedi showed up. So a crippled galaxy, on top of like this new evolved Sith that Kreia talks about being so powerful, really established. He's in the sort of vein of, or rather, Darth Kaitis is in the vein of Revan, where they're adopting the dark side to sort of prepare the galaxy.
Yeah, like, as it's basic, all the dark side is to those two characters is just a means to an end.
Yeah, it's just a tool that's convenient for them.
Yeah, like, Revan was never like a Palpatine character who's like, no. I want power, I want more power, I want to live forever with more power.
No, he doesn't. It's not like Revan's just jacking off to the dark side.
Yeah, he's not like he's not like Darth Bane. He's not like Plagueis. He's not like Sidious. You could argue he's kind of similar to Anakin Skywalker, where he falls out of like an altruistic reason. Where Anakin obviously, well, granted, if Anakin hadn't fallen, you know, Padme wouldn't have died. But he's falling for what he thinks is a good cause. Like, Anakin falls to save his wife. Like, that in his mind is a good cause. Revan falls to, in his mind, save the galaxy. Whether he would have been right or wrong in the end, obviously we'll never know. Unfortunately.
But yeah, I've seen a lot of comparisons between Revan and Anakin, and like how Revan is what Anakin should have been in terms of quality of writing and motivation.
Well, I mean, the solution is obvious. Have Chris Avellone remake the prequels.
Yes, finally. some new Star Wars content I can get on board with.
But no, like, yeah, those two characters are similar. They're both... Well, you could even make the argument that, like, Revan is, like, the Anakin of his era, because everyone, like, won't shut up about how cool Revan is.
Or how powerful he is.
Or how powerful he is. And then in the Clone Wars era, like, you have that whole opening, that awesome opening monologue that is just, like, it's just jerking off Anakin. It's like, Anakin is so cool, he's so powerful. He's the
so
best.
good at war.
He's got a sweet mullet. Oh, he's so cool. He's got a scar. He looks cool.
He's the hero with no fear.
He's the hero with no fear. And yeah, so it's like those two are it's like a very good comparison. And I would also even argue that the best comparison, in my opinion, to Revan, like character-wise, would be Kaidus, because they're both falling to, in their minds, save the galaxy. And then Anakin's another one, and even Luke in Dark Empire, I would say, would be like another like kind of like good character comparison between the two, where Luke is falling to the dark side so he can learn about it. Which
nobody here is like falling to the dark side for selfish reasons.
Yeah, like it's not like a Darth Bane.
It's not a Sith mentality in general, because being a Sith is all about being selfish and like self-determinism is like the hallmark of the dark side, and like none of these fit into that archetype.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, even just like within the era, you have like Revan, this guy who fell for, in his mind, altruistic reasons, and then you have Malak, who was just a dick. And like even on their final confrontation in the Starforge, Malak is like, "Oh, I wanted to be the master. I was more powerful than you, so I shot you with my ship."
Yeah, all Malak talks about is power, being more powerful than Revan, obtaining more power, proving himself to be stronger. Whereas Revan's like, "I'm just trying to save the galaxy, man."
I don't care if I have to create billions and trillions of orphans. I'll save the galaxy, damn it. And you're gonna like it.
Well, it's interesting, too, because Kreia has the same mentality, where she wants to get rid of the Force to essentially save the galaxy from more war, because she believes that the Force is creating all this conflict. And it's interesting that she's Revan's master, because she kind of imparts that mentality to him. Where, and like, Revan doesn't want to kill the Force, obviously, but he wants to... He's like the embodiment of the ends justify the means.
Yeah. And I think a thing that I kind of skipped over too is Kreia talks about how Revan and Malak, or maybe not Kreia, but I know someone in KOTOR 2 does. They talk about how Revan and Malak eventually just like came to like despise weakness. So again, kind of circling around to Revan's not a good guy.
No, he isn't.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing to play up when you're talking about this kind of stuff, because you're going to have a lot of edgy people who are like, yeah, use the dark side to fight the dark side.
When we're talking about Revan in this context, though, we are talking about specifically Darth Revan.
Oh,
and, like, during the Jedi Civil War.
Yeah, Darth
He's
Revan.
Not a good guy.
No, he is. Yeah, he is like, and that's why I keep saying, like, in his mind, he thinks he's doing all this good stuff, but like, and yeah, you could make like kind of like a twisted argument that like, yeah, using this kind of like ferocity and like these tactics, like, yeah, it is a good thing, because, oh, what about when the Sith invade and all that stuff? It's like, well, couldn't Revan just like be like, couldn't he have just like been like, oh, hey, like, here's this recording I made of the Sith Empire doing fucked up shit. They're still out there and we need to prepare, versus, you know, just, I'm gonna set the galaxy on fire to put it out and save it.
But even then, like, in fairness, the Jedi saw what the Mandalorians were doing, and they weren't doing anything. So, who's to say they would listen to a Sith threat?
Well, they hate the Sith.
Yes, but the Mandalorians are, like, butchering everybody. But, really, what we're talking about mostly is Darth Revan, because after KOTOR 2, his character's kind of steamrolled over and simplified and butchered in every other media that he appears in after the timeline.
Well, yeah, I talked about that a bit in my Revan video, but we can touch on it again here. But yeah, the Revan novel, completely just like...
all the theories that Kreia has about Revan, everything she establishes about him personality-wise, motivation-wise, it's just shit on because Vitiate wiped his mind and made him evil.
Well, I think we should put it this way. It's not just Krea's, it's the play. It's one. Okay, so one, it's Krea's. Two, it's the players. Like, because we have the same ideas of Revan because Krea's telling us this, and then we can connect it back to Knights of the Old Republic 1. Like, that's the good thing about KOTOR 2. Is it doesn't, like, steamroll and ignore KOTOR 1 like the novel and the MMO do.
No, if anything, it makes Revan a more interesting character.
Yeah, exactly. It makes Revan more interesting, but it also just, like, expands on everything we know from 1. It does what a sequel should do. It expands on 1. So the player, us, we also have these ideas of Revan where, he fell to the dark side for this reason. He's an interesting character because he did these things that were told, and then we can, turn it back and see all this stuff from the previous lore as well, and we can impart it on that. And then it also steamrolls over Chris Avallone writing this really good story by oversimplifying everything.
It's like Drew Karpyshyn just didn't even play KOTOR 2 and then looked at the little screen tip that you get during cutscenes. It's not even a tip, but it's like little lore facts that you get in KOTOR 2, or KOTOR 1 rather, where it says Revan and Malak were heroes, but then they went into the unknown regions and something changed. He's like, all right, I'm taking that, nothing else. They met Vitiate, got their minds wiped, broke off, and now they're evil.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing that I mentioned in the previous video, is that it removes all of Revan's agency as a character. He meets Vitiate, gets mind dominated, breaks free. He's no longer a compelling, interesting character. Now he's a mind slave who broke free and now wants to be evil.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really glad you mentioned agency too, because when KOTOR 2 is over and essentially you get to the epilogue where Krea is telling you to go find Revan and meet up, like the whole point was for Revan and Mitra to correct the flaws of the Jedi Order and rebuild it with what they knew, Revan having fallen to the dark side and Mitra having learned what she did under Krea throughout this journey. And then you see the Old Republic and the Jedi Order is the exact same.
Yeah,
except
and
I think you can marry now.
Can you though? Because Satele Shen had to have her child in secret.
Ashara mentions in the Inquisitor storyline that you can marry, you just have to have permission from the Council.
Oh, okay. I
don't know why I know this.
I was gonna say, the only thing I have completed from the MMO was the Jedi Knight storyline, because that's the main character storyline.
Yeah. It's what continues KOTOR. And it does a very shitty job of it.
But no, it removes Revan's agency. All the stuff that we had found interesting, it's just, bam, gone. It's, as soon as you find out that Vitiate dominated Revan's mind, and then his lingering connection or whatever mental influence makes him do the Starforge stuff and want to take over the galaxy.
Yeah, but the only interesting thing that you learn in the Revan novel, not interesting thing, but the only thing that people take away from it is Revan is this master of balance between light and dark, and I think you mentioned this in your video, but the only instance where he uses both sides of the Force is when he unleashes a torrent of Force energy, the Force imbalance at Vitiate, knocks him over, and then immediately gets his ass blasted by Force lightning. Yeah,
and I was gonna say, because of the novel and the MMO, well, more so the novel, because the MMO just continues the steamrolling. It backs the fucking steamroller back up over the corpse of Revan.
It does. He dies.
Yeah, because
he's all right. He has the sort of Darth Revan mentality where he's I have to embrace the Starforge and cause chaos to stop the Emperor, and then he just straight up dies, and half of him becomes a dark side ghost.
Oh no, it's physical. It's Revan's physical body, but
half of Revan was too angry to die, and the other good half is just a light side ghost chilling out.
It's so stupid. It's fan fiction tier writing. I wouldn't have a problem with it if... Okay, whatever. So Revan gets captured, whatever. He gets freed by Jedi, fine. He goes off to do Revan stuff. Because I even mentioned in the video, And I'm gonna keep plugging the video because I'm just referencing stuff.
Good video, go watch it.
Yeah, watch it, please. I'm holding Tristan at gunpoint and telling him to tell you to watch it.
Praise God, watch it.
But no, because the thing with Revan's storyline in the Old Republic is in the dark side or the Imperial side, whatever mission where you confront Revan. He is doing a lot of like Darth Revan stuff. He's talking about how the ends are going to justify the means because he's going to use some kind of space station thing to create something to kill. I don't remember.
He's using the Foundry and like... Honestly, I don't remember the conflict because I don't remember him doing much wrong. He's just using the Foundry and like both the Republic and the Sith are going there to stop him.
No. Because there's a mission, the mission where you kill Revan, which, in my opinion, is kind of just insulting that, like, a no-name crew of Sith kill Revan.
It's literally, you're at level 15 or 32.
Yeah, they kill Revan, which I think is just kind of, like, insulting. But it's whatever. That it's just a gameplay thing. It's whatever. Obviously, they can't have, like, these big, important characters doing it because the players need to do it. But Revan's on the Foundry, and you can talk with him, and he's like, I'm gonna literally murder Sith civilians. And just, like, kill indiscriminate just members of the Sith. Because he's like...
Exactly what he was.
Yeah.
The like, light and dark dichotomy Revan that people fall in love with because I watch YouTube videos really doesn't exist in any media.
No, it doesn't, because...
Like, post-redemption Revan, where he uses both the light and the dark, only exists at the end of KOTOR 2, and it's implied that he's learned shit and wants to rebuild the Jedi Order with more understanding of the dark side. But in every appearance he has, chronologically after KOTOR 2, he's the same character.
Yeah, well, and even in KOTOR 2, it's not even implied he uses both sides of the Force. It's just that he's not going to turn down light or dark Force users in his war against the Sith.
Yeah.
Is
Revan's a chill guy.
Yeah, he's a chill guy. Well, he's not chill because he wants to probably genocide the Sith, which, you know...
I mean, fair.
You know, probably not the chillest move, but everything up until that point is going to be really chill. He's going to have beers and chips for everyone.
Hell yeah.
And it's going to be a huge party before the genocide. But then after that, you're going to get your hands dirty.
The whole visual of like Revan blasting somebody with Force lightning, but also being like, there is no emotion, there is peace, is kind of touted bullshit.
No, it's a joke in my opinion, because like just the whole like premise of it stems from one sentence in a 300-page book. And then immediately after that, once Revan gets blasted with Force lightning, does he call on both sides of the Force to heal himself? No, he calls on the light side. He's not he's not like, oh, please, Gray Jedi Jesus, help me. He's like, no, light side. I'm going to use the light side because it's going to fix me.
Yeah, Revan's essentially just a edgier light sider.
Yeah,
in the book.
He's like at a 75 on his alignment for the KOTOR.
Like alignment. It's not bright iridescent blue. It's just like a little. It's a nice sky blue. Yeah,
it's like just the nice, vibe in blue. He doesn't have the fucking giant white pillar from KOTOR 2 behind him.
You're right.
Yeah. But no, yeah, the MMO, it just Zambonis all of Revan's character. And then, we had mentioned it, but like after he dies on the Foundry, Revan's good half splits off because, there's no death, there's the Force, but then his dark side half, because he's literally now just a character whose dichotomy is so strong between the two that one can survive death.
It literally splits him apart.
Admittedly,
I like the idea, like, mentally, like, where using both sides of the Force is so destructive to yourself because they're really... it's almost impossible to balance them.
Well, yeah, because they're so contradictory.
Yeah, it's self-defeating, really. But not to the point where your light side half dies, becomes one with the Force, and your dark side half remains physical. It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
I don't know who wrote the Revan DLC for SWTOR, but whoever did it, it is just fan fiction level.
The novel and MMO kill him, bring him back, and then kill him again.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
They just make him a vitiate, obsessed lunatic, and
well, because they just had to, because they introduced Vitiate, which in concept, yeah, the Sith Empire is going to have an emperor, and having it be like a super powerful Darksider, fine stuff. This is all fine. And then you make him a Darth Nihilus ripoff.
I'm going to eat the galaxy, but then you kill him, and then he's like, I have a family, but I'm still going to eat the galaxy, and now I'm going to rule everything too. And I think you killed Vitiate like 4 times in the MMO alone.
I don't know, because I don't care.
Yes.
I don't want to know, and I don't want to care.
They bring it back so many times, Kate. It's ridiculous.
Well, because I know there's Vitiate, and then there's Valkorion.
There's Vitiate. Okay, in the Sith Warrior storyline, you kill Vitiate as the warrior to release him from a Voss body. In the Knight storyline, you kill him. And then he comes back as Valkorion. You kill him then. And then he comes back again. You kill him as Valkorion again. And then he comes back as Tenebrae, Vitiate, and Valkorion, split into 3 different entities in 3 periods of time, and you have to kill him again.
The MMO didn't happen.
You're right.
That's it. Like, it's just, this is the level of writing that we are entrusting people to do with Revan.
Exactly, because this is supposed to be Revan's antagonist. And you ruin it because you make it like this self-insert character defeat him that in the MMO.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like, we could harp on and on about the MMO, but the most important thing about how bad it is, gameplay aside-wise, I just hate MMO gameplay in general. It's not fun for me.
I don't like the grinding.
Yeah, the grinding is not fun. The fact that it is an MMO is just dumb.
Point being, really, that the MMO just shits on what Revan could have been.
Yeah. Because they say, I think someone said, someone at BioWare or whatever says, oh, this isn't KOTOR 3, it's KOTOR 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it's fucking bowel movement 1 through 7. It just dumps all over Revan's character, and then the novel that preceded it, that was supposed to lead into it, ignores everything from KOTOR 2, turns the Exile into a walking Revan stan who doesn't even mention Kreia or Malachor. I think Malachor gets like a passing reference. Doesn't mention Darth Nihilus. Doesn't do anything.
Well, what's funny is that when in the Revan novel, I'm sorry to go on this tangent again, but Beatrice goes to like one of the dead planets that Vitiate kills. Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah, she goes there, and she's like, "This is like KOTOR," which she's never been to, and she's like, even says, "I've never been to KOTOR, but this sounds like what they told me it was like." When she has been in the presence of Nihilus and has been to Malachor. So, like, you felt wounds of the Force manifested as planets, so I don't understand how, like, this emptiness is new to you.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how bad the novel is, but we can't harp on that, because we're here to talk about Revan.
Not his shitty novel.
Not his shitty novel. Although the cover's cool.
The cover is cool.
I like the cover. Well, actually, I do and I don't, because I don't like that Revan is wearing his Darth Revan robes. That's always been like a small little thing.
He's also just in the carbon freezing chamber.
Basically.
Yeah, he's in his full... It sells books. I mean, look at him. It's cool.
It looks cool. It's a cool cover. It is. But, yeah, it's... Yeah.
Essentially, to wrap things up, Revan, as people know him and as people think they know him, rather, doesn't exist because anything established out of KOTOR 2 was ruined by the novelization and the MMO, because essentially he's just what he was, but written. Post KOTOR 2 Revan in the novelization and the MMO is just crazier, unhinged Darth Revan.
Yeah.
So the whole balance thing does not exist.
Yeah, it doesn't fit. It doesn't go with the whole Revan was redeemed thing, and it just
can't go with anything.
Exactly.
It's a character. It's just it completely ignores his development, and yeah, KOTOR 2 is needed because it's the only thing that gives a definite character that isn't immediately wiped away, or is immediately wiped away.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, to wrap it up, like Tristan said. And to tie back to the question that I posed to myself to start this video. Does Revan need Knights of the Old Republic 2? Yes, times 3,000.
Revan is KOTOR 2, essentially.
Yeah. It's just... Revan has to have Knights of the Old Republic 2 to be a interesting character. And yeah, it's still fun to play as Revan in Knights of the Old Republic 2 and do the playthroughs. But Revan is your favorite character because of KOTOR 2. Or because of crappy Star Wars YouTubers that say he's a gray Jedi.
Essentially.
But no, I guess that's all from me. Like we've gotten a good discussion out of this.
I feel Hopefully. Free. I vented today. I feel lighter.
Why go to therapy when you could vent about Revan?
Honestly, I don't think my therapist would find this as interesting.
Okay, so there's this character Revan from Knights of the Old Republic, and
Chris Avalon, God amongst writers, was butchered by Drew Karpyshyn.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm on antidepressants. Anyway, if you don't have anything else to add, Cade, I think I'm good. I've covered all my bases. I've let out my rage and anger. And
all right, perfect. Then to get the obligatory, if you've been enjoying the content, if you enjoyed this video, which I had a lot of fun making. It was a lot of fun to just do an unscripted kind of ranty type video with Tristan on here to talk about one of our favorite things from Star Wars. Obviously drop the video a like, drop a subscribe on the channel because we're just trying to grow it. The Twitter is down in the description as well. And check out, I'm going to plug it one last time. Check out my Revan video. It's in the description.
I'm still at gunpoint, please.
So with that, this is Cade from the Lore Council signing off.
This is Tristan signing off.